Oh boy. Well, it looks like my prediction might be coming true after all. For a little bit of context, if you didn't see my last video about some of the spicy tweet that Evasion GG had put out about their treatment at the hands of BSG, I would definitely go check that video out first, just so you kind of understand where this video is leading into, because this is a follow-up. As I said, I would follow up if there's anything interesting, and at first there really wasn't so much. There was this tweet by Sigma the very next morning. I didn't think it was really enough to really sink my teeth into. It was kind of not an unexpected reaction from BSG, but a follow-up tweet that I found today also has some more issues with BSG. And as I kind of predicted in my last video, that Evasion coming out and saying what they said may open up the doors to allow more BSG skeletons to come out of the closet to embolden more people to start speaking up. So for what happened here with Sigma, and I think I said in my last video, I wasn't 100% sure if Sigma was the owner of Evasion. I was wrong. She is the owner of Evasion GG, which means that she was very well aware of everything that was in that tweet that went out about their treatment by BSG and reasons why they had not been doing so many tournaments really at all lately. And so Sigma posted the very next morning, "Welcome this morning to being booted from the Tarkov Emissary channel and program and Telegram. No direct messages, though I'm not surprised. I was aware of the risk I took in spreading and speaking up about how Evasion GG has been treated. Cheers to 2 years as Sherpa and then almost 4 years as an emissary. It was an honor to help those learn the game, report issues, test arena, bring on multiple other Sherpas and emissaries, and I hope none of them are ever put in the position that I was. Nothing but love for those truly trying to help the community and not just help themselves." Now, again, the reaction by BSG, I don't think it's so surprising. They have shown themselves kind of in the past. I've seen it with other creators that they have done this to, where they can be very petty, they can act very childish, they can boot people from programs. I've seen them ban people. We're going to be talking here shortly is threatening people with bans that, you know, relied on Tarkov financially. BSG has oftentimes taken underneath these tactics, and unfortunately it's starting to come out for them now. You know, I think a lot of people weren't wanting to speak up about this, but given what's all the things recently been happening with how BSG has treated the community, now people are starting to speak up, realizing like, hey, this is literally a pattern of behavior. This is the company and it needs to be exposed. Well, this came out today, as a matter of fact. This is from Iron Fist, who was a really big member of the Tarkov community. He was an emissary, he was a streamer, his content was, you know, centered around Tarkov, and he, like a lot of people, especially in the just, you know, pre-pandemic period, who were really building a community and a culture around Tarkov and mainstreaming Tarkov to their audiences and making all their content. It put them in a very precarious position, because while that can be incredibly successful for a streamer to focus on one game and build a community who loves that game, and it can be very profitable and can make you very successful, it can also make you very vulnerable, because all it takes is what Iron Fist went through at the hands of BSG, and it can really do a lot of damage to you, both mentally and emotionally and financially. BSG threatened to ban me about a year ago as a result of this quoted tweet. This is a tweet. This is something he had said to Pesley. This had to do with a particular Lightkeeper task at the time that was really difficult. And basically said, "I've been cheesing the Lightkeeper kill quest for the sake of accessing the new content and the hope of unlocking and exploring the game, the new endgame. I feel like there's a flaw in the quest design. I feel if the first instinct is to cheese it, e.g. 20 PMCs in a specific low traffic area." So, you know, and to kind of just go over this, I was told that I was cheesing the quest is covered by the same area of TOS that hacking and cheating covers. We'll show you that text message here in a minute. I don't really think that plans out, but whatever. This was when Lightkeeper questline was added, and assessment part 1 was 20 PMC kills by Lighthouse Bridge. Yes, that was not a heavily traveled area. That was one area though where I think you had to do a task on the bridge, so it made you very vulnerable. There are other tasks like outposts, which have also now been changed, but they were very similar that way. And it has followed in along the lines of BSG's thinking when they make quests. And one of the things they do in their quests that I don't like is they will have a much later quest in the quest line that asks you to go back and shoot PMCs at specific areas that are needed for earlier quests. So you're leading low-level, lesser-geared players specifically into areas for higher, better-geared, better, modded weapons, just better over, just overall in a better situation players to hunt them, stalling their advancement, thus making the game artificially longer. I mean, BSG's literally developed a form of lengthening the game time by sending higher level players against lower level players, which actually ends up causing division in the community and frustration for lower level players, especially the later into the wipes you get, because the later it goes into the wipes, the more PMCs you have doing those later level tasks, the more earlier, the more casual PMCs, the ones who don't know life, the ones who do play other games, the ones who don't have time to devote, even 10 hours a week to video games, they are still trying to complete these low level tasks. And now they have a constantly growing army of better geared players who are actively hunting them down. It's no wonder that by the time we get to late wipe, pretty much the only people left playing are high level players, because everyone else is just like, I'm done. At the time, I was an emissary and very vocal about the poor quest design, leading to cheesing. This quest, along with others like capturing outposts, the one I just mentioned earlier, have long since changed following community feedback. At the time, the area in which kills counted was a very specific, and it was a very low traffic area to map. Some of the adjustments they have made is they've either reduced the PMC number count you have to kill, or they've extended or outright changed the area where you have to get these kills to try to make it into more areas of normal traffic, and not specifically I still don't think they've done a good job of keeping it away from other quest areas. Really, those kind of tasks should be more focused on areas of travel, and that should be based upon map analysis of how players move through the map and finding specific areas where players move regularly, and then allocating tasks to kill PMCs to travel routes and catching people on the move, as compared to putting players in a situation where they can camp and overlook and look at a building and know that the players are going to come to them. There's a difference in that design. One feels better than the other. The threat of a ban is what led me to eventually stop streaming full-time. He literally quit because of this, as the ban would jeopardize my income. Again, he was a single focused player, a single focused game streamer, so a ban would have been immediately disastrous to him financially. This has likely put him in a situation where he basically felt like, for the first time probably in his career streaming full time, his actual livelihood and how potentially fragile it is came to light, and realized that instead of continuing to do something he really loved and enjoyed, he went and finally found something he doesn't like quite as much. So they really kind of just ruined something for somebody who was really good at what he did for absolutely no reason. I was told to take down the tweets and the VODs where I was cheesing or actively encouraging or promoting it. I didn't remove anything, so no action was taken. Basically, he played chicken, he won. It's been on my mind to speak about this publicly since it happened, and I did not have the courage to do so. I feel the community needs to know about what incidents like this. I always wonder how many other players have been banned as a result of this. I actually would read this more as, let me fix this for you, friend. I'm wondering how many more players have been mistreated by BSG. I think that's a more interesting question. I want to know how many more players have been hurt from BSG as a result of just their shitty business practice, their shitty customer service, their shitty communication. Everything BSG has been doing lately continues to be bad. And this is just another situation where you have another player here who, like Sigma, was dedicated to this game, dedicated to this community, extremely active, extremely positive. These are the types of people you want in your community. You do not want to chase them out. You do not want them to go away. These kind of people are what make your community better. They make it stronger. And if you have an emissary whose literal job in your organization is to act as the go-between point between you and the community, so that you as a company can know what your community wants in the game that you're supposed to be making for them, and they're telling you, hey, this quest design is really bad and it's going to encourage people to do stuff you don't want them to do, and then you don't listen, so then they actually go, look, this is what it's going to look like. You didn't listen when I tried to communicate this with you, so now I'm going to show you how bad this actually is, and I want you to do something about it. He was actively working for the community, which is basically his job as an emissary. But instead of acting as an emissary, BSG wanted him to act like HR. They wanted him to be like the company man, who are like, no, oh, you're wrong. This is great. Hide it, bury it. And this is something that BSG always does. Every single time. There have been so many people from Iron Fist, Sigma, OnePay, literally just to name a few, of people who have at some point in time spoken out about BSG, and instead of, or spoken out about specific things that were wrong that needed to be fixed, or out and out demonstrated like this is what's broken. And instead of BSG sitting back and looking at what's broken or looking at the issue and going, how can we fix this? Their answer has always been to contact that person directly and say, don't tell anybody this, bury all of that content, make it go away. We've already had a number of accusations. Actually, they're not even accusations. We've already proven them to be true of a number of people who have had accounts banned and have had their content DMCA'd by Battlestate Games for playing the single player Tarkov version, which apparently now is totally fine. Apparently now you can play SPT so long as you don't tell anybody where to get the stuff or you don't tell them how to do it, which, believe me, let me just tell you this right now. Google it. It literally will take you 10 minutes. I'm not going to risk having this down because I want you guys to get this info, but Google it. Okay, if you want to play Tarkov, that's how you play Tarkov. SPT it. The mods are cool. Check it out. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Nobody can. But this is how BSG has always done things. They did it to OnePeg. You know, they tried to shut down OnePeg. I think they even tried to DMC one of his videos once. Like, they tried to shut him down. Now he's persona non grata. They won't even talk to him. They shut him out of everything. They took him out of everything. He's not allowed to participate in anything. He's done. Sigma's done. Iron Fist is probably going to be done after this now. He'll probably never be allowed anywhere near Tarkov again after this. He's probably going to have his account banned. Anybody else who talks out, they're probably going to have their shit banned. Hell, who knows? I might have my stuff banned. I don't even know. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do is, like, seriously, go hop on Pestly's stream sometime and go ask Pestly what BSG's reactions to him grinding 1 billion rubles was. Ask him about how Nikita called him and told him to delete all of his money because he didn't like Pestly showing people that it was possible to grind to that much money, because he didn't want that much money to be in the economy of Tarkov. So instead of sitting back as a team and looking at what Pestly is doing and seeing what he was able to do and what about it you didn't like and how could you fix it, how could you adjust it so you couldn't make that kind of money, your decision instead was, well, that's too much work. We'll just go tell the person who's doing that one thing that we don't like, stop doing that and stop showing people how to do it. And so it doesn't surprise me when Clean is coming out here saying, well, yeah, I can stream SPT now. They're not going to DMCA me, but I can't show you guys how to do any of this, and I can't tell you where to go. So again, like BSG is so ignorant that they want to believe that you can just literally stuff your head into the sand. And even though you're saying it's out there, well, as long as we don't tell them how to do it, it'll never happen. BSG, Nikita, I don't know what you guys are thinking. I genuinely don't. But I can say this. I was right that the whole, my video where I said Evasion GG coming out was going to be the start. I was right. I don't know how big it's going to get. maybe this post is going to embolden more people to do more. In terms of what we were talking about earlier about what specifically, I just want to touch on this about how him cheesing this task somehow violated BSG's TOS. Specifically, it was supposed to be covered in the hacking portion of the TOS. It's right here. He basically just says, can you show me we're in a TOS? And it's section 4.3.4 is basically, you're not supposed to do any of these things. You can't, basically you can't mess with the code. You can't break down the code. You can't do any of the stuff like that. Yeah, which is why I think like No Food After Midnight also ended up getting busted, was basically because he was deep diving like values and shit for armor and weapons and all that and ammunition, so that ended up getting him busted. And none of this counts because he wasn't doing fraud, he wasn't using anything, he wasn't offering anything, he didn't do any advertisements, he didn't provision anything, he didn't distribute anything either. So none of that counts for anything he did in terms of a violation of the TOS by asking players to come on to the raid so that he could kill them to get the quest over with. Now this is the area, ways to override limitations. This isn't a limitation. The 20 kills at the time was not a limitation, it was a goal, and he asked for help to reach a goal. That is not the same as overcoming a limitation. Overcoming a limitation would be is if BSG is saying that what he did overcame a limitation, they have to vocalize what was that limitation. If that limitation was, well, we designed this quest to have you specifically kill players in an area where we know players don't go very often, mostly because we want to slow down player progression or artificially by putting players crosshairs in areas we know players aren't going to be, and you're overcoming that limitation by inviting players into that area, then you're going to also have to explain why your game design was so shit, because that would be absolutely shit game design, and if that's the reason why they did it. So hopefully he's not overcoming a limitation, because you wouldn't be dumb enough to put that kind of limitation in to begin with, because that would just be really gross, right? So method affecting the course of the game, nope, it doesn't change the course of the game's development if he does this, unless they decide to do a task. Well, they ended up changing it anyways. So if they want to say because he changed or they changed how that task is done, if they want to give him all the credit for it, then I guess maybe he would be up for being banned, affecting the course of the game. But obviously that's not the thing. Now somebody might say here, the gotcha moment and or simplifying it. Is he simplifying the task? Yes, he is absolutely simplifying the task. There's no question about that. And right there you would say, boom, smoking gun. He simplified the task. Done and done, right? I'm gonna say no. By the way, this little part in the parentheses is only about using code to take advantage of a game, basically hacks and cheats. That doesn't, it's not applicable to us at all. And it says including, so it's not an example, so that doesn't dissuade what this is saying. This is not a smoking gun though, because it is followed up with this caveat and thus giving the user and or other user advantages over other players not using such methods. I am going to say that he is asking for help to complete a difficult quest that is more difficult than it needs to be, basically based around poor design. Any player in any Twitch chat, any Kick chat, any YouTube chat, any YouTube comments, any Discord could ask openly for help of Tarkov players. 5 guys, 10 people, 15 people could get together and agree to all help each other out until they all have that quest completed. People as a community could come together and ask for help. That is not a player taking advantage of something that other players are not using. Other players ask for help all the time. Everyone asks for help. So no, there was no in part any reason for him to even be threatened to be banned. They were being very liberal with their interpretations of their own TOS to fit their own argument. And it's gross and it's bad and it shouldn't happen. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. I think that there's probably going to be more coming out we're not going to probably see the last of this. I have a feeling BSG's woes are not yet quite done. So if there is an update, if we see anything else come out, if more skeletons decide to march their way out of the proverbial closet, well, understand I will be happy to interview each and every one of them just to see what they have to say. Until then, appreciate you guys hanging out. Please like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check me out over on Twitch. I do hang out there, TikTok as well. Thank you guys again. Have a good one.